Yeah. Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true, and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today, a repeat guest called Superhuman Being, and we did a show on that, so please go back and listen to that. Of course, we will touch on it today, but today we're going to be talking about a new book that is written called Daily Devotional, 12 Steps to an Unshakable Recovery. And we're going to be talking about it being a companion for your mind, for heat and spirit recovery from mental health, substance misuse conditions, general religion and spiritual and self-help and Christian living. So we've got a lot to unpack here. He says, do you face depression, anxiety, trauma, or the ache of feeling alone and unsupported? You're not broken and you're not without hope. Based on L.J. Winter's first book, Superhuman Being, which offers 365 days of daily devotional reflections rooted in the principles of the 12 steps of recovery. It was created for the millions of people worldwide who struggled with mental health and substance misuse. At the age of 30, he committed to healing himself from childhood abuse, parents' bipolar disorder and addiction, as well as his own struggles with suicide thoughts and eating disorder. Today, as a certified peer specialist, author, facilitator, he gently guides us and others along the path to recovery. And being perfect or being bold and being present and recover is what's required. And it's all about living your experience and understanding that even the things that are hard are here as a lesson in life. And how do we listen to our heart, soul, and spirit to guide us through it? So welcome back, Larry.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here again.
So, I think a lot of people look at things that happen to them and go, why me? And it's like, well, we kind of sign a contract before we come here to have an earth experience. But, all of these things that happen to us are always happening for us. And it's for us to discover our strength, our courage, our resilience, our meaningful purpose, but also to connect with the divine wisdom in whichever way you want to look at it. And it's all a self-discovery and ignition of our heart and soul, isn't it?
It is. It is. I know from my own experience with recovery, it's an internal journey, both psychologically, morally, spiritually. And that's the premise that I bring to my own healing. And that's the healing of my heart and the healing of my soul.
And that's the thing, is the healing of the heart and the soul. And the soul is here to guide your heart into healing and lift your spirit into action for your mind to have the clarity it needs, right? And it's igniting that wisdom that lies within the soul to understand what our heart and spirit purpose is.
Yes, I have really come to terms over the last couple of years in realizing that recovery for me has not been an external thing caused by somebody else, something else, whatever. It is an internal journey. And for me, that part of that internal journey is God, and getting the strength and the wisdom that I need, and the capability to have self-awareness.
Yeah.
To understand what's going on in my inner world, and then be able to take action that will provide me a fuller, more holistic life, of which is very important to me.
it's important to everyone to have that experience, but we also have to understand it's a journey that we need to be present with, right? You can't download an app, you can't just read a book and think it's all going to happen. You've got to participate with the knowledge that comes from that book. You've got to participate with your with the experiences that you're having. It's the brain does have to say, I will surrender to that divine wisdom and listen to it in order for me to know how to use my brain. But the brain has to kind of surrender it in order to get out of the way.
Yeah, and another way in which to say that is we're asking pride and ego
Mm,
to be removed and allow humility and courage to come forth
yes.
and to provide us the, as I always call it, the light to freedom and
Hmm.
peace after, you know, very, very traumatizing things that happen to people, that
Hmm.
have happened to me.
Hmm.
And uh, the importance of that is when I facilitate my support group, when people first come in, it takes them a while to
Yeah.
know that it's not the support group that's going to heal them. It's going to be allow themselves to be humble and have courage to go within to find out what is already there. It's
Yes.
just got to be tapped into.
I think instead of support, it's security, a
Mhm.
secure place from which you can travel within, right?
Yes,
And that's
yes.
support in itself, but it's feeling secure amongst people that are on the same journey. And you're supporting each other by giving each other that safe space in which to do so.
Because one of the things that when I do a virtual support group on Thursday evenings, and one of the things that is invariably said at each meeting is someone will say, I appreciate the fact that I could come here. It's confidential
Hmm.
and no one judges me for what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Hmm.
And that is the culture that's important to set up
Hmm.
in the recovery and healing process.
No shame, no blame, no judgment, no comparison, and no competing,
Yes.
right? Just a
Very
safe place to be.
well said. I couldn't have said it better.
And I think that's part of the problem in people's self-healing is because the moment they kind of discover, I need to take this direction, I need to go in, and you kind of say to people, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be that available. I'm taking this inner journey. People will make you feel guilty, or you're being selfish, or they start demanding from you. For some people, um, they don't want to see you change because it A reflects that they need to do so for themselves and they don't want to, or other people have been so busy kind of using you for a while that they
Hmm.
don't want to see you unobtainable to them. And
Hmm.
so, sometimes it's just tell people you're busy doing something else and unable, and then take that inner journey and understand it is imperative that you take it for yourself because you're not taking it just for yourself, you're taking it for your community as well.
And that is the word that comes to me in summarizing what you're articulating is boundaries.
Yes,
It's they
yes.
have boundaries, and that is really one of the biggest leaps that we have to make as we enter into the recovery and healing process
Hmm.
is being okay about setting boundaries because correct, the message that will start the dialogue, at least it did in my mind, was I'm being selfish.
Yes, yes.
And what I began to realize is that I was so far from being selfish
Hmm.
because I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it was to do to have self-care, take care of
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
And it's not a physical thing. It's not like health
Yes.
insurance and
Right.
a job and all that. It's self-care with my emotional, my psychological, my mental, spiritual part of myself.
Mm. Your well-beingness,
Yes.
right? Your wholeness. And we can't take care. We can't take just care of parts of us. We need to take care of the whole of us. But as we take care of each part, it becomes part of the whole.
Hmm.
So it's also allowing the time to invest in yourself. And if you do have a family, if you do have other people that expect from you, you do have to say, look, I'm awfully sorry. I need to do this for my well-beingness right now. Um, I'm sorry I'm not going to be there for you as much as I would like to. Please don't take it personally. And if those people turn
Exactly.
away from you, they were meant to turn away from you, right? And if they really care about you, they'll give you that space and time.
That's why it's so important to be connected with
Mm,
a group of support people because
yes.
invariably you lose many, and in some
Hmm.
cases you lose all of your support system, what that looked like prior to engaging
Yeah.
in the recovery process, the healing process. And that's why having a group of people that you can connect with that have similar experiences that you can share, you can be safe with, you can get support from is critical.
Yeah.
In any psychologist or therapist will say that's the number one thing that's key in returning and moving towards wholeness.
It's that relatability. When you're in a group of people where they're all going through something, they relate to one another and they understand each other's pain and anguish and struggles. And they know when to support and when to just give you space because they're going through it themselves. May not be exactly the same thing, but they understand. And that's really what you want to be around when you are in in igniting your own heart and soul into your own self-awareness and self-care is you need to be around people that care
Hmm.
and that have a certain comprehension. Now it isn't about again compete or compare. One person may be only going through one thing and it's a huge struggle for them, and other people may be dealing with multiple things. It's not about that, but that relatability is, oh, you feel like that too. Oh, I
Hmm.
feel like that. And that what are we empowered to do about that?
Exactly. And I liked how you put that as far as what are we empowered to do
Mm,
about that? On the flip side of that, one of the things that happens is when I'm interacting with people, um, and I notice that there's a lot of anger and bitterness. If I'm to ask them what their and who their support system is, many times those individuals have very few or none at
hmm.
all.
Yes.
And what happens is that it does hinder your
Hmm.
growth, when you're hanging on and we hang on to anger and we hang
Hmm.
on to
Pain.
the pain.
Yeah.
It really has a significant impact on our health
Hmm.
physically
Hmm.
and then also the relationships that we have.
The emotional. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes. And what we really want is just to, we don't want to keep being on the same treadmill, going round and round in circles. We want to break that circle and be able to step off. And I think one of the first things is recognizing you're on that treadmill, that you're doing the same old thing, and that it doesn't matter that you want to. It's until you apply, until you are really ready to kind of sever that repeat, 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 and you want to try something different. You really are willing to go that extra yard. Um, you can't help yourself. It's that first step. I always say the first leap is the first step,
Hmm.
right? And that first
Hmm.
step is recognizing you have a problem, recognizing it,
Hmm.
and not beating yourself up, not letting other people's judgment of you beat yourself up.
Hmm.
It's recognizing, well, I don't feel like this. I don't want to feel like this. I know there's so much more. How do I move on from this? And that's where you need that group of people that understand what it is you're going through. And if you can't find it within the family and friends or whatever, then you do need a group that's going to help you, or you need the books. Some people may not be ready for the group straight away. Well,
Hmm.
how can a book take you down that channel so that you are ready at the end of
Well, and
it?
that's one of the reasons that after my first book, I did a lot of contemplation about, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
And my new book, Daily Devotional, took 5 years to write.
Mm,
And it was very intentional, how I went about it because I did write it for the individuals that you're talking about,
hmm.
Sarah. And I also did it because, at least in our area, there are a lack
Hmm.
of therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists, and many people have nothing to turn to
Hmm.
as far as daily. I call it their daily diet
Yeah.
of helping them through the process, and that's what really motivated me to think about doing a daily devotional
Hmm.
for the people that, some of the feedback I got from the first book and just really inspired me to go for it. And
And the thing about
wow.
that kind of a daily devotional, it is a recentering. And that's what we really need to do is kind of come back to core, come back to center. And if you have something that almost kind of is your mantra for the day that just takes you into that energy signature and that helps you center, helps you be present, helps you be engaged with what you are saying and feeling what you are saying, then you do that day after day after day. And it's putting you in a good space to then kind of face what it is, face the demons, face the
Mhm.
struggles. But you've already kind of equilibriumed yourself with kind of putting yourself in that space ready to be able to talk about it.
Yes, and there's opportunities in what makes it unique.
Mm,
And what I'm referring to is my newest book, Daily Devotional. What makes it unique is I took the 12 steps, and they're not the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous,
hmm.
but they're the 12 steps that I wrote and modified for mental wellness.
Hmm.
And one of the things I really worked hard at was I wanted to help people overcome shame
Yes.
because it's the biggest component of
Hmm.
when you're starting, when you were saying when you're starting out, well, I want to make the change.
Hmm.
And shame is a big uh, barrier, hurdle to that. So I
Yeah.
wanted to I wanted to help people get present and be able to look at from a wellness standpoint. And then each day, the way I wrote them is there's a associated step to
Mm,
that day, and it gives them an action item that they can be empowered to take for
hmm.
that day. And if they take one each day for 365 days in a
Yeah.
row, they have 365 new behaviors
Mm,
or tools
hmm.
in their toolbox.
We're all looking for self-forgiveness. We all make decisions, good or bad, based on what we know or how we feel in that moment. And when we look back on them, we go, oh my God, right? Why did I do that? And we start beating ourselves up and then feeling shameful, or somebody else is busy shaming us. So, how do we find forgiveness? Now, it isn't condoning an action that you may have taken, it's owning the action and forgiving yourself for making that action because now you do know better, you're aware, and you aren't going to repeat that action.
Exactly. And that's the difference from shame
Mm.
and embracing your life.
Yes.
And, you know, yes, there may be a piece of that there's accountability there for you. But I also emphasize a lot that sometimes mental health, people that come to their situations with mental health, it may not necessarily be because of something that they did wrong
Hmm.
or they hurt somebody.
Right.
They have a mental health, a true mental health illness. There's something with their brain.
Hmm.
Um, and how can they look at things and recover as
Right.
well? And what you're saying is exactly perfect because it is that starting of forgiveness.
Yes.
Why did
Yes.
forgiveness for, well, why did I wait 20 years,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to deal with this stuff? Well, maybe because you were coping, it
Hmm.
wasn't safe,
Right.
right? You didn't have the connections, the
Right.
relationships.
Hmm.
So there can be a lot of variable reasons that can happen. And it's
Hmm.
important to help people become aware of those
Right.
and then understand what the connection is to their current
Hmm.
life and their current functioning.
There's two things I want to address there. There's one that's neurodivergent, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, all of those lovely little obstacles. I've got a couple of them. So, it was always growing up feeling different and feeling less than because I couldn't follow the mainstream because I wasn't designed to follow the mainstream. The universe decided I was designed for something else, but society decided that if I couldn't follow the mainstream, that I was less than. And so the burden of being less than because I didn't fit into that mainstream always was a weight that you carried and it got heavier and heavier, right? Which so many
Yeah.
people with neurodivergence deal with. Now we're looking at neurodivergency and actually understanding the gift that it is. And all it is taking your ADHD and learning to focus that gift into fruition and putting the right people around you that see your vision and that can help you actualize it because we are the visionary creatures. We see things. There is no box, right? There's the stratosphere, there's the
Hmm.
universal, there's the dimensions. We
Hmm.
really think really big, and that to forgive yourself from all the shame and the blame that you've had thrown at you for not fitting in and understand you were never meant to. So now get on being who you are. The other side of it is the people who really do have bipolar, schizophrenia, people that really do have mental anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression. A lot of depression and anxiety come from because you don't feel you fit in, or you
Hmm.
or you or you feel ostracized, or you feel alone, right? A lot of that
Hmm.
comes from that. Some of it is biological. Obviously, schizophrenia and all of that type of thing is something that's within the genes and that will come out at some point. But it's again, no shame around it. It is what it is. Now, how are you going to navigate it and make sure that you still have a beautiful, fruitful life within the barriers that you have of that condition?
Hmm. Well, when you were talking about ADD
Mhm.
in that, I came to mind is that creativity is meant to be explored.
Yes.
Creativity is not deplorable.
No. I like that one. Yeah. Exactly.
But we know that's true, right?
Yes.
We know that's true. That's what happens many times.
Hmm.
And then, as a result of that, as you said, other issues happen: depression,
Hmm.
anxiety, anxiousness, and it's very limiting. And I also will say that I think as a human race, we're coming along in understanding it better.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the same, it's no, there's, I know this is kind of cliche, but the stigma,
Yeah.
we just got to keep working at it because there is so much, you know, of that. My father's generation and father-in-law and mother-in-law's generation, they're in their 80s. And this whole idea of getting help
Hmm.
for problems,
No.
that's foreign to them.
Yes.
It really is. And what's so refreshing is that I think it's changing
Yeah.
for future generations as a result of it. And that
Most
needs to be
certainly.
celebrated.
Oh gosh, does it? I mean, my dad died at 45, had a heart attack at 40, more heart attacks to come and dead at 45. And a great deal of that was post-war. of being, one of the last survivors in his squadron, working with a brother whom he hated in the family business, but also this stiff upper lip. War is over, man. Trudge on, and never downloading, never coming to terms with the horrors and everything that he saw and everything that he went through. It was just sucking it up. And we realized we cannot suck it up. Emotions must be spent. If not, we become emotional over the emotion.
Hmm.
And it needs to be spent in a place where we feel safe to spend it, and safe to be able to express it without other people feeling uncomfortable or judgmental. And that there is no, again, comparing to anybody else, what somebody is going through is what they're going through. And we need that safe space for them to download it. Because so much of the post-traumatic stress disorder is the inability, or the societal telling them, suck it up. And we can't put the human psyche through the horrors that we put them through. And like what we're seeing in the world right now, war after war and suppression and ICE and everything else that you name it, it's all about how many people are going to have post-traumatic stress after this. And if we do not put mental health as a priority for the human race, we're going to see generational hate, depression, and anxiety, and vengeance, and everything else. So we need to address it. We've got to understand that it's in the DNA, it's in the ancestral, it's in society, and it's very much within ourselves. And we need to give permission to people to express what they're feeling in a safe place.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things that I think inspired me to write
Hmm.
Daily Devotional. I want to help people that have gone through some of those things,
Yes.
be able to, cultivate compassion and kindness towards themselves. That's a very fundamental thing, but it is very difficult to
Mm.
do. But it can help us manage our symptoms
Yes.
and give us
Yes.
hope
Yes.
in this process, and build healthier and more supportive relationships, and find a deeper meaning and purpose, for our lives.
Mm.
And I say that for myself because I was a social worker for 30 years,
Hmm.
and then I retired in 2018. And I had been really working hard on my recovery. And I can't tell you how proud of myself I am, because I found a purpose and I found
Yes.
meaning in what
Yes.
I'm doing. And that makes all the difference. And that I can radically accept anything that comes my way, because one, I know that it's temporary. And two, I have a good support system
Hmm.
that's there for me.
Right.
And I no longer fear
Yeah.
isolation and being alone.
Right. Which is so key. Because what happens when people are facing something? They go in and they shut themselves off. And that's what makes it worse. It just magnifies the actual struggle that they're in even more so. And when you feel that you're in that safe space and that you can really express it, or that you have the skills and the tools now to that whatever's thrown at you, you know how to deal with it,
Hmm.
right? You face the challenge, you don't let the challenge face you, right?
It's well put.
And it is, you've got the skills and the tools, and you know that this is temporary. You've just got to do A, B, C, and D, and then let it go. But what we're not taught is how to let things go, because we don't know how to, right? And it's
Hmm.
we don't feel safe to when we just have the skills and the tools to. And but it's also at the same time acknowledging how you feel. You're feeling stressed, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling fearful, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling pain. Acknowledge what you're feeling, and then understand why you're feeling it, and then actually understand you don't need to feel that anymore and you can let it go. But it isn't just like snap out of it, right? You can't do that. I
Hmm.
know that from a person that's suffered a great deal from depression, which, touch wood, at the moment I have really got mastered under real control. But for a while there, I would go down the rabbit hole where I just
Mm,
felt like somebody came in and just pulled my guts and my heart out and just despair, no, unreasonable despair, nothing
mm,
to do intellectually, nothing at all, nothing. It was just an overwhelming physical feeling that I felt absolutely worthless and just earth swallow me up. And there was no, I think an awful lot of people that do commit suicide, if you were interviewed them on the other side, it would be, I didn't mean to kill myself. I just couldn't deal with the despair anymore.
right,
Right. And,
right.
fortunately, I got that under control and medication for a while and now none. I know what to do when the triggers are there. But for people to think that you can rationalize it, you can't. And I think it's for people to understand, spend this emotion. You're in this right now. It's obviously a form of release, right? And for other people around you to understand, this is what you need right now. I've got you. You're safe. You, you know, go through it to ride through.
Hmm.
You can drug it, and that's okay if it's got to a point that's dangerous. But at the same time, try and work your way through it. What will get you through it? And know what things will get you through it, and then you can come the other side. And the thing we need to understand about that is we become that inspiration and that invitation for others that are going through it to show
Yes,
how we
yes.
become a more heightened and higher conscious person, which now we're ricocheting out to other people in a positive vibration. So every time we invest in ourselves, every time we face a challenge, every time we get back up again, we are resonating and vibrating out on a higher frequency that benefits all those that are in our vicinity.
Well, what comes to my mind is when you were talking about expressing, uh, someone quoted that I've always kept with me is if you name it, meaning the
Mm,
emotion, you tame it.
mm,
If we
mm,
name the emotion,
mm.
we tame it.
Exactly.
Being able to talk about it
Yes.
brings it down intensity, its
Yes.
frequency of that, sort of feeling.
Yeah.
And the other thing is in the daily devotional, I can say that either they have worked for me
Hmm.
or they've been action things that have worked for me or other people that
Hmm.
I've been in relationship with and support. And that I think it's a key, right? Because we name it, we tame it, we understand it, and we take action.
I'm
That's
going to ask a
so
question
important.
about this is that if somebody does a daily devotional and they don't quite connect to it, should they move on or should they stay with it until the connection comes? Or if they move on, could they go back to it later and then they're more in tune with it?
My answer would be is I know I have read a book, and I don't know about you, but I brought that same book out been like 2 years later,
Hmm.
and then I read it, and I'm going, well, I read that 2 years ago,
How
but
did I miss it?
how did I miss that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the answer to your question is yes.
Hmm.
There may be some that don't, resonate.
Hmm.
That's okay. Go on to another one. The other thing that I did that I like about the uniqueness of the book is that under each day, I have lines for you to take notes.
Right,
There's something you don't understand. Maybe you want to take a note and then take it to your support group or your
right.
therapist, or you want to talk about it
Or
with
a
your spouse.
revelation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It allows people to be able to do that. And that's why I didn't say, in the context of the book, I didn't put like January 1,
Yes,
January 2nd. I
right,
did a day. And so
right,
people can, however it works for them, I
right.
wanted to individualize for them because all of our lives are unique and different as far as our time, and what we can do and what we can't do, or how we want to go about things. And I wanted to empower people with that.
And if you do put down X, Y, and Z struggle, but another day, an aha moment, right? And you do this, day after day, and then you go back and revisit it. God, I struggled over this one that day. Why? Because right now I see this. Well, write down what it is you see. Look at the contrast. of where you were to where you are now. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of people go, oh, yeah, I'm at a crossroads. I don't know which way to go. And I said, that's the universal pause. It A wants you to look back, not to go back, but to see how far you've come.
Come.
And when you understand how far you come and who you are today, you have better understanding where you're going next.
And that's exactly it. You're able to know what the next step or
Yes.
take the next action is and what that's gonna be like. And then the key is you we get feelings that come up when we're
Hmm.
gonna make that step and realize whatever they are, they're normal.
Hmm. Hmm.
But don't let it stop you. I don't want to let it stop me
Mm.
from taking that journey forward.
Exactly. And understand it's just a pause,
Hmm.
and there's something beautiful about pauses, because pauses do allow you just to sit and reflect, sit and understand. And when we do have those pauses, it's just that moment to kind of collect your thoughts, look back. I mean, the thing is, sometimes we go, oh, God, I'm still struggling. Are you? Look back. Look what your struggle used to be,
Right,
right?
right.
Now you're still navigating. And with each step, it gets easier and easier. And then suddenly you look at what you're navigating right now. God, this is nothing compared to what used to be,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, give yourself credit for taking the step every day in moving and understand it's not linear. You're going to do the cha 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 and the twist and shout, and they're all about, right? And it's like, dance with it. It isn't about walking straight. It's dance with it. It isn't about getting to a destination. It's about the dance of the journey and savoring every moment.
It's the ebb and flow,
Yeah.
the ebb and flow. And I think oftentimes what I experience myself and those that I get support from is patience.
Yeah.
We're into kind of that instant
Oh.
gratification and that patience. And then when you accomplish something,
Mhm.
you know, it may be on a particular day a small thing like you got up and brushed your teeth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that is huge.
Hmm.
And if you accumulate small things like that over time, it becomes bigger and better and healthier
Mm.
for you. And I think sometimes what happens is we want to look at the pills,
Mm.
or we want to look at a particular intervention working, but we want it right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. We don't accept that with physical.
Mm.
We can be patient for most of us, where if you injure yourself with, let's say you hurt your knee, okay, I'm going to be up for 2 weeks. I got to be patient, da 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 da. Well, our mental health is the same way, just
Yes.
small and incremental steps. And if you do the daily devotional, you'll have 365 at the end of the year.
Right. And boy, do you need them. It's interesting because I've had a couple of weeks where I do deal with fibromyalgia. So I had a couple of weeks where I called the wackaroo. Fiber decided to flatten me and stick around for a while. Normally it flattens me, I rest and I pick myself back up. And this time it was, no, I'm flattening you for a while. But at the same time, I had people postponing shows to reschedule. So the universe was in sync with me,
Oh,
right? So
mhm.
because I didn't have the energy. And it's like the old me would be, oh, no, no, I got to push through. I've got to do it. I got to do it. I can't let people down. Blah, 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 blah. And then this me is like, there's no point in arguing. Just give the psyche and the body what it needs, and then I'll be able to get back at it with the right energy. And I think it's kind of giving yourself grace.
Mm, mhm. And that is a blessing.
Mm. And it's a
You know,
lesson hard to learn.
yes, it is. It's a blessing, and it's a very, for me, when I have that happen, it's a very spiritual experience.
Hmm.
You know, if I had, I reflect on this. If I had, oh, I remember I had pneumonia a couple of years ago, and it was like, okay, I accept it. I'm going to have to take care of myself here and get back on track and so forth. And I was perfectly fine with that. If I have a day where my mental health is not in the place that I want it to be, um, I'm I used to be like, I got to push through this. I got
Yes.
to get through it. And I wouldn't give myself a mental health day.
No.
It's just like physical health. You have a sick day.
Yeah.
Um, I am more able to do that now, but that's taken, time to get
But
to.
it's also a generational thing. I think that our millennials and Gen Z are doing that more where, I'm 71. My day is like, I don't care if your arm is dropping off
Yeah,
or your head is spinning. You're coming to work, you're going to do and literally push myself to drop. And because talk about mental health, well, to talk about that would be what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Or you were
right,
loony. And so you didn't talk about the struggles, right? You pushed through and you hid it and facaded it. And you learned to put on a face that everybody else thought everything was all right. And behind that face, you're screaming. And that was very much, I think, my generation. But now when we're looking at our millennials and our Gen Z, it's like, hell no, I'm going to do that. I'm not feeling it. I'm going to let you know.
well, it's interesting because I've been really aware of athletes,
Hmm.
and there was an American gymnast and an American tennis player. And both of them talked about their experience with their mental health.
Hmm.
And the gymnast actually uh, did not or pulled out of the competition because she wasn't feeling right.
Yes, God, what's her name? She did it in the Olympics.
Yes,
She said, I'm
yes,
out of balance, and everything about doing gymnastics is being in balance. I'm off kilter. I can't do it.
yeah.
Simone, that's it.
Simone, yep.
Right. And
And then
and she
the
got ridiculed for it. Then
yes.
came back on another Olympics and whoop, 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 whoop.
And then there was the tennis player, Coco, Coco Gauff, I think is her name. Same thing. She
Hmm.
had decided that she needed a break mentally because she wasn't in the place that she wanted to be
Yeah,
for a particular tennis tournament.
right.
And it was like, wow, that is pretty bold when you think about it at
Yes.
this point in time, especially for
Mm.
athletes. And it's beautiful, actually.
Yes, I mean, kind of look at this example that they're doing. They're placing value upon themselves. They're not waiting for someone else to place it. They're placing it. My well-beingness needs this.
Yes,
And if you want to
yes,
ostracize me for it, do so. But if I push forward, I'm going to break. And how many athletes, how many young stars have we seen that have been push, 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 and they haven't had the download or the balance or just the reflection before they're into the next thing. And industry is pushing them and pushing them. And then suddenly you see suicide or you see addiction or you see them doing something crazy. It's because they've never had time to gather themselves before they've been pushed into the next. So for
yes.
someone to say, no, sorry, I need this well-beingness, otherwise I can't perform properly. Kudos to them, and we need to see more of it.
And one of the things I want to communicate, make self-aware, people self-aware about is one of the things that's been bothering me is in the support groups that I do, it's usually myself and maybe one other male, and everyone else is female,
Hmm.
and that's fine, great. But men
Yes.
are
Maybe you're just going
so,
to have a man's group.
yeah, because
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think there's so many
Yes.
that don't, that are suffering and that don't,
Stigma.
yes, yes, yeah. I know that I can tell you that we had our sheriff, wonderful man, is was in law enforcement for 30 years, retired. A week after he retired, he took his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's other examples, of that, and also men who are just invariably they're suffering.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's so much available for them, for us, if we allow ourselves. Again, it comes a lot of times with pride, ego, the things that have been put in our culture,
Expectation.
the expectation, and to come to terms with that and to be able to let go is so much what we need to encourage,
Absolutely.
because it's devastating families, it's devastating communities, and for more men, to come out and find the support that they need.
And also to understand that if somebody has a breaking point, why are you ostracizing them? Why are you not recognizing you've pushed too far? This doesn't make the person less than.
Right.
It just means that they have a breaking point, which we all do because they've been pushed too far. We see this in law enforcement. We see this with doctors on the front lines, etc., that they're too scared to point out they have a problem because then they could be dismissed, right? Now, obviously,
Yeah.
if you're going to have a gun in your hand, we do want to know your mental health is there. But why are you dismissing? Why are you not helping without stigmatization so they can get the tools and the right tools to handle everything so they can get back out there and do what they've elected to do,
Hmm.
right? And it's like we've got to stop throwing people away because they're having a struggle. We need to help them through the struggle and give them the tools that they can help themselves with.
Precisely. Precisely. And I think I know that there are men who have the intention of wanting to get help and support, but there's the self-awareness, but the action, from the self-awareness to the action, there's something that usually gets in the way. And I was hoping that through writing my book, my first book, and this too, the Daily Devotional, I wrote it in mind to be able to connect with men
Mm,
as well.
yes,
Men, women,
doesn't matter. Children,
doesn't matter, children, doesn't
yes.
matter, to make sure that people felt inclusive, in my writings, and that, you know, if you can work daily
Mm,
with our internal world, the unshakable recovery part of this
yes.
can be a, a light, a rainbow in your life for hope. It really can.
You know the old terminology, rinse and repeat.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, and the thing is that, repetition is something that roots. Now you've got to understand what it is you're repeating, right? And if you're repeating negative, what I call the lackitude attitude, then that's what you're going to invite all the time. That's what you're seeding, that's what you're planting. But if you go into the gratitude and repeat constantly the positive, that's feeding you, that's nurturing, that's rooting, it's going to change the way the brain works. And the brain is going to start looking for things that to be grateful for, things that will lighten you up, things that shine brighter that you never were able to see before, because that's what you're feeding. But if you're, carrying lackitude along with you, that's, a heavy burden that's weighing you down, and you're never going to see what there is to be gratitude about. So you've got to
Exactly.
look at, I used to get, I do in my own courses, I have people write down a column, everything that you feel is wrong with your life and wrong with the world and wrong with everything else. And now everything that's right. And you'll always see the right small and the wrong long. And then the simple question is, what are you feeding? Because what
Hmm.
you feed will grow. How
Hmm.
about you start feeding this more and you will see that list of gratitude grow and
Hmm.
start, roll rubber band even. Every time you're thinking a negative, snap with the rubber band. You've got to train the mind to see what there is to be grateful, to see the positive. So the fact that you got the book that is 365 days, every day you're building on each day. You're repeating the philosophy, but building on each day, rewiring, retraining, and recycling so that people can kind of get into that habit of automatically feeding that.
Because we know that the brain is plasticity and
Exactly.
that new pathways can be
Hmm.
formed.
Absolutely.
And just sort of one of the days, and my wife and I do this each night before we during our prayer time. We always share our joy for the day.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And the other thing that we do, because we want to name it, to tame it, is anything that was a sorrow for the
Mm.
day. So
Do the
that
sour one
balance,
first and the other one, and always end up with the good taste, the
do
dessert.
the balance, exactly. Exactly. Because the other part of that it's helped me have realized that there is a balance,
Hmm.
that things are joyful,
Yeah.
things happen in life that are happy, but it's not real. That's not, that's a part of it, but it's not the total realness of being whole.
No.
That there are sorrowful things that happen in our lives, and we acknowledge that. And but we have the ability and the tools to be able to get the support we need and cope and know that there's help, as well as taking time to celebrate.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we're not we get into our tasks that
Hmm.
we sometimes forget to take a time out and celebrate.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what is called for. It's
Yeah.
maybe not called for moving forward. It
Hmm.
may be called to celebrate the moment, celebrate what is.
That pause,
Yep,
right? It's not asking you to take action other than to acknowledge,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
And that's what's really important. And I think that, is there anybody in this earth that hasn't gone through something that, could weigh them down? And I think that a great deal of, again, our anxiety and depression is very environmental, but also, we absorb the DNA from our parents. So, trauma is passed on. Trauma is programming that we haven't yet dealt with and that we need to deal with. And unless we are willing to rewrite the program, all right, the program is going to keep running because it does, it doesn't delete itself. We've got to do the
Right.
deletion. And it's not just a question of going in there and deleting. We've got to go through the process of that trauma to release it. And that means we've also got to be able to receive the help, the wisdom, the knowledge, the tools that are going to help us to acknowledge the trauma, to release that trauma. And so many people are unable to receive. And that's something we need to acknowledge ourselves as well.
Well, one of the things that I attribute my writing to is that I really believe, my higher power is God.
Hmm.
And when I write, it's not me.
Yeah,
It's
you're
it's
downloading.
it's it's the good Lord
Yes,
coming through me to put things on paper because he wants to give me the gift of serving others
exactly.
in a way that can help them be know that they're loved, know that they're cared for,
Mm.
and know that they can have a purpose and meaning in their life.
And it's not just the words that they're giving you, it's the energy in those words that is also being passed on. The
Yes.
words can be just words, but we write the right energy behind those words. They won't have the same meaning.
And that's why it took me so long to write this second book
Hmm.
because as I was going through the editing process, I wanted to make sure it was something coming from within.
Yeah.
And sometimes the well was dry
Yes.
within,
Yeah.
and then I needed to take a break.
Right.
But I intentionally waited for that inspiration to come
Mm.
because I felt that people will be able to feel that
Right.
when they go through each of these days.
Yeah, you're not just downloading nitty gritty. It's the allowing of that right energy around the wisdom,
Yes.
right? Anybody can spout wisdom, but it's not really wisdom until the knowledge knows how to be used, right? So, for me, it's about that knowingness, the soul wisdom, God, universe, source, spirit, energy, whatever you wish to connect to, it's all beautifully the same. We just identify with it differently. When we allow that soul talk to come and resonate with the heart and truth, and then go into our spirit and action, our mind will have the clarity it needs when it needs it, and all the energy is aligned. And it not only is right, it feels right, it speaks right, and it resonates right. But that's because the wisdom has been driving the ship and not the knowledge, because the knowledge can get in the way. It's knowledge, but the wisdom shows us how that knowledge is relevant in that now.
And how do you discern, at
Mm,
least for me, how do I discern when I know that everything is in alignment?
exactly,
Inside of myself, I feel peace.
exactly.
Then I know.
It's like a deep breath, isn't it?
Mhm.
It just is.
Yes.
Calm. You don't need to argue, don't need to verify, justify. It just is.
It's
It's a
that's
lovely feeling.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It is.
That's when you know you've got it right. The
Hmm.
alignment is there, right? And it's
That,
like, you do go back to edit, don't need to edit. It just is, right? And so there is no second guessing because it's just right. And don't argue with that. Some analytical minds may want to do that. Don't. It is the truth. Hear the truth. Stop arguing with the truth.
put the mind aside.
Yes. And I think for a lot of people, like, I have ADD and dyslexia, etc. And to quieten the chatty mind. And I found that the best way for me to download is to give my mind something to do. And so, if I'm busy doing admin or stuff that I could do in my sleep in the background, the mind is focused on doing that. Now I can put on some music and I can download. Right? So it's knowing how to separate your mind, give it a job so that your soul's voice can come through and
Hmm.
then dictate to the mind. But it's very hard to kind of quieten that, hurry on meditation. I haven't got all day. You don't meditate in the same way, but it's discovering, is it a walk in nature? Is it yoga, tai chi? Is it listening to music? Is it writing? What centers you? Um, in a way that the other mind isn't interfering.
It's taking that mind and putting it in a box
Yeah,
so that the heart and soul
yes, can have
and
its voice.
spirit within us can have
Yeah,
its voice with
yeah,
us. Yeah.
exactly. And if you've got a chatty mind, it's like I give it something to do, and if it's not got something to do, I give it a movie to create. And while it's busy doing that, I can go into that other space. But that is getting to know yourself.
Hmm.
And again, don't beat yourself up because you have that, but that chatty mind is also your creative mind. But it needs to understand it doesn't have to be in creative mode all the time. It
Right.
can receive creation better when it's not constantly creating.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why we have a day a week that oftentimes is put aside as a day of rest.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that means our
But how do you
mind.
rest a chatty mind? And that again is again a lot to do with like focusing on something you love, and then that chatty mind actually ends up being productive with you.
Hmm.
What you're feeding. So, the chatty mind becomes even louder when you're not being clear,
Yeah.
right? So, that clarity helps calm the other side of the mind.
Yes. And you're so right about, when you say, what are we feeding our minds
Mm,
with?
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that is so, and that is so, I look at that as huge amount of wisdom
Yeah.
if we look at it that way. Because what are we feeding? What is our
Mm.
minds being nourished with?
And I think an awful lot of people think that in order to find peace, peace of self, peace in the world, that we all need to be kumbaya and soft spoken. And we've got to understand peace is also found when we stand up for others that are oppressed, right?
Hmm.
When we become the chorus, when we harmoniously become the orchestra, when we become the community that stands up against those that are doing wrong, and we don't do it with pitchforks, we do it with love and compassion for the person that's being hurt, to ignite them and to release them for what they're going through. It isn't abstaining from standing up because now you're peace and you don't want to participate. It is about how do you stand up peacefully in a way where you can still fight for those that are oppressed.
And that then comes back to full circle. What we talked about earlier is empowerment.
Yes, yes, and enrichment.
Hmm.
Enrichment and abundance of the heart, soul, and spirit.
Yes,
And
yes.
letting that ricochet out there that then leads your action with the right kind of intent that's really received in that loving way.
Hmm. And that is what was intended from the very beginning of human existence
Yes, it
for
is.
us, and
We're
that to
just
be
slow learners, aren't we?
cultivated and fertilized. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think, I just had a conversation with a veteran and a very interesting conversation somewhere along the line. I will interview him. But, it was talking part philosophy and part war and part everything else. And it's like, for me, it says that why have we not evolved from having to take up arms to resolve our problems? And, there's maybe you can help me. The guy that's the science guy, dark hair with the mustache, great wit. He's always out there. And his name completely eludes me, but there was a young man that asked him about Star Trek,
Mm.
about the Star Trek Academy, the new one that's out there, and
Hmm.
saying, in this world, this future world, there is no famine, there is no greed, there's no money, and people are all working harmoniously together despite what species they are within this realm, right? They may find
Hmm.
other species, but in this realm. And it's how do you think that has come about and what can we do to get it? And he was pointing out when there is that no need for money per se, because everybody has access to what they need, right? Then there's no need for greed. And when there is something that is the duplicator, the
Hmm.
one that makes the food and duplicates everything, if I've got an orange and you haven't, I don't need to share it or lord it over you. I can just create an orange for you too. And so everybody's on a more laying playing field. And it's more about who they are and what their contribution is, rather than the label of the financial and the power. It's about the empowerment of being and your contribution to that collective that brings about the harmony. And Rudenberg started this off of that philosophy that we are all the same no matter our differences. And I think it is achievable. Maybe not
Hmm.
in our time, but
Yeah.
it is achievable. And I think we're on the road towards that. It's still going to take a while. But if we decide to feed that, then maybe we would not see so much discord in humanity and we start seeing more elevation.
I think what comes to mind is we move towards leadership style that is more servant
Yes.
focused,
Yes.
servant leadership.
Right.
My
I
wife
don't like the
had,
word servant. Service, I prefer.
okay.
Servant sounds like the slave, but of service, you know, because that's chosen, right? So, but yes, more service based,
Then
right?
that's one of the things is a servant leader is not has a responsibility for accountability and responsibility for the people that they lead. Um, the only reason I know this is my wife has a master's degree in it and
Mm-mm.
learned a lot about it. But that's when you're talking and saying what you did, that's what came into my mind and triggered me
Right.
is we need more of that.
And we
And
also need to know that, like in the orchestra life, that orchestra only is good of each of our instruments and the willingness to play harmoniously together. And there are going to be some people that will be soloists and some people that are triangulists. But the whole point is they all count.
exactly, that's what makes the music.
Yes.
everyone's role.
Exactly. Harmoniously agreeing to play together, right? Not trying to out thing each other. Um, I do believe we could get there as a human race, but I do believe also it starts with us individually healing, individually reprogramming, individually allowing ourselves surrender and allowing ourselves to grow consciously, vibrationally,
Hmm.
and the willingness to be of service to one another with our contribution. And I think if we can all do that individually, we now become the solution that this world needs.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't have said it better.
And you're doing it with your book, one day at a time. And the whole thing about it, even if you've done the 365, you can go back again and do it all again because you're in a different space now. And it'd be very interesting then to write where you're at now as to where you were before and see your own growth and let it be your support system, right? That's what's so important. It is your support system.
Exactly. Exactly. And a resource for people that may have not a whole lot of options.
Yeah.
Anyone can get this and benefit from it.
And my suggestion for people is not only get it, but get it for the whole family. Make it a practice that everybody goes through it. Obviously,
Mhm.
age appropriate, but everybody goes through it. And don't share unless you have a particular day or thought that you want to share. But then all of you look at it, at the end of a year and go, look where I've come and look where we've come by
Mhm.
collectively deciding to take this journey together, even though it's our individual journey.
Mhm.
Look at the effect that it's had on our community, family,
Mhm.
because we're all willing to take this self discovery and how to bring the best of ourselves to the collective here. I think it's a wonderful thing for everybody to go through, but we've got to understand if we want to see the love and see the peace, we've got to become the love and the peace. And that means that we've got to be willing to apply and go in and discover who we are and what we're really here to do. And that requires you to participate.
It's an engagement.
It is.
And part of a relationship in any relationship is we're not only the cafeteria, but we're also willing to serve.
Exactly. Exactly. Again, free will, right? Everything is free will. But I think when we get to that point of exasperation, I just can't carry on anymore with what I'm carrying, or there's got to be something better. I've got to take a different path. That's when you're more willing and open to try new things. And with what you've done with the book, it's a very simple road to take. You can
Hmm.
take it in conjunction with other things.
Hmm.
Find a group that you can speak to. But what it does do, it starts reprogramming your mind. It starts you being honest with yourself. It starts you asking yourself those questions that you didn't even know were there. And really, truly listening to your answers. And like in a 365 days of really discovering who you are at the end of that because of it, and it's like, what step are you ready for next? But it's that participation in your own self discovery and your own recovery. And you've given it out to them in a book one day at a time.
And the question I have is, are we ready to experience a greater serenity in our
Mm,
recovery? And we can do that by reading, reflecting, and taking small intentional steps each
yes,
day. And we'll uncover strengths we don't even know we have yet.
exactly. Yes, you always say we're beautifully flawsome. We've all got flaws and quirks that make us who we are. When we embrace how awesome we really are, that's when we allow ourselves to be. Right? Not
Yeah.
comparison, not self-judgment, not judgment of anything else, just truly embrace the essence of who you are. But that is a journey day by day. And let this book help you on your way.
Thank you. You said that so well.
How do people get the books and where do they find you?
First of all, it is available on Amazon. So if you just do a search, with Daily Devotional by L.J. Winter, you'll be able to find it. The other thing is, you can go to my website, https:// superhumanbeing.net / and you will come to a page where it will show both the daily devotional and my first book. And you can click on Amazon and it takes you right there, and you can get a copy for your recovery. So that's my best suggestion, is to go to my website.
And the thing is about if you put in L.J. Winter in Amazon, it will bring up both books on one page. So by
Yes.
going by his name, you'll find both books instead of just going by the name of the books. Of course, I have the links here on his show page, and that is under selfdiscoverywisdom.com, Larry Winter. And you will see both shows are here. Go back and listen to the other one, The Superhuman Being, just as profound as this one. And of course, you can go to his site, superhumanbeing.net, folks, not .com, net. He's also under Facebook, LinkedIn, and also LJW superhumanbeing.net at substack.com, and you can find him there as well. This is a wonderful gift to give to people. It doesn't matter really what faith they are, because it's all
No.
about essence of wisdom. It's about immersing yourself into something day by day by day that starts changing the minds, changing the thoughts, changing the feelings, changing the whole psyche into being more embracing of who you are, why you are, and what beautiful divine energy is here to support you. So it makes a wonderful gift for a birthday, for no reason whatsoever. But I do recommend, age 10 up, as a family, do it. And you could once a month just say, hey, let's have a review of the month,
Hmm.
and have a look at how you feel, and then at the end of the year have a look at it, and what have we got out of it. Let's do it again and see where we feel on these days now, and make it something that becomes a practice for them that can take them through their lives and everything. Like, I'm very much into teaching about breath, how to breathe properly, taking a breath, even like meditation and yoga. Teach our
Yes.
children young, because what we're doing, and we're giving them tools to help navigate no matter what storms come their way, which is really important. And this book is another one of those that can help be part of that navigation, and something you can do as a family, whether it's a chosen family or a blood family. It's something that you can do together. And in your own self-discovery, you're also exploring each other, which is really important. So remember that, folks, it is the site superhumanbeing.net, and you'll find everything there. Please come back and listen to the other show, and give the books, because they keep on giving. Remember, books are something that keep on giving. Thank you so much for being back here with us, Larry, and
Oh,
for taking the journey that you've taken. It's wonderful.
thank you. And it's been a pleasure to be with you today.
And you took your time in doing it because you paid attention to the signs and you allowed them to come through you. So everything that you've put down there is something that's a collaboration with your God, with your
Yes.
essence. And so that energy is not just yours, it's theirs as well. And it will be felt in the way that it needs to be felt, which is important.
Amen.
So thank you, Larry, and to everyone out there. It's a book of a daily practice. So simple, so simple. Simplicity very often is the way forward. So just participate every day. Look at it every day. How does it make you feel? Then revisit over time. And it's something that can help change your mind, which is something that's so very important to do in the healing for your tomorrows. Until next time, folks, bye for now.
Mm.
We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.
Find your path with the knowledge of others.